Mr. K online. Macho man, yeah! I wanna be. Woo! Guys, how's it going? Oh, sorry, I was just doing some action, and today is all about action. It's actually called What is a Verb? Well, in today's video, you are going to learn what is a verb. We're going to define what one is. We're then going to talk about verb tenses and give you an introduction to what a verb tense is and what they are. And then we're going to talk to you about the most used verb tense in stories. So stick around for that. Anyway, let's get things underway. First of all, what is a verb? Well, a verb is a word that is all about an action. It's something we do. So it's a doing word. And it actually tells us what's happening in a sentence. So example, a verb or a doing word or an action word could be this. It could be run. Or it could be kick. Or it could be eat. They are all doing words, and there's so many in the English language. Another important thing to remember about verbs is that every English sentence has a verb in it. I've even heard people say every English sentence has a verb V power. That's how important verbs are. Look, they are one of the most important parts in a sentence as well. There's one other important part to a sentence that you always need in a sentence, and that is a noun. But that's another video. So, a sentence always needs a verb and a noun. Okay, good. Let's go to the next thing. So, let's get an example happening. Eats. Now, eats, is that a verb? Do you do it? Yeah, you do. So it's a doing word, it's an action word, and it's a verb. So we do have a verb, but by itself, does it make sense? Eats. No, it doesn't. So you've got to have the other important part to make a sentence that makes sense, and that is a noun. So let's get a noun. I'm going to pull this in now, and I put Urkel. So you remember Urkel, my buddy? Here he is. Hi Urkel, how are you? Say hello. Oh my God, he doesn't sound too good now. Where's his voice gone? Anyway, so Urkel eats. Does it make sense? Yes, it does. So that's okay. It means that Urkel eats repetitively, or he eats it habitually. So he eats. He does it. But I want to add in something a little bit more to make it a little bit more exciting. So Urkel eats Mr. K. Urkel, you put Mr. K in here? I can't leave him alone for 10 seconds. Gee, he's been fooling around with my video material. Anyway, let's keep going. Urkel eats Mr. K. So, does that make sense? Yes, it does. You got a verb, and you've actually got, in this case, two nouns. Urkel, Mr. K. Urkel eats Mr. K. Now, let's keep going. Now, verbs are complex, and if I was going to make a video about verbs, everything about verbs there is, that video would go for hours. But today, we're not going to talk about all the things about verbs. We're only going to talk about, tense forms of verbs, and we'll touch on a little bit of irregular and regular verbs, what they are. But just be aware that verbs can be also action words, modal verbs, and also auxiliary verbs. Also, verbs can be transitive or intransitive. Complex. But anyway, we're going to try and make it simpler. Let's keep going. Now, verb tense forms. There can be 4 different tense forms of a verb. That being said, there can be at least 12 different tense sentences in the English language. Now, all those sentences use different verb tense forms. A little bit complex, but anyway, like I said, we'll leave that there and we'll keep going. Let's talk about just the verb tense forms. Now, as you can see down here next to me, I've got a table, and it actually shows at the top of the table, it says base or simple present, and that's one form, and then continuous progressive, that's another form, and then simple past, that's another form. So let's have a look at a verb and look at the different forms of these verbs. So first of all, stop. I know it says next to it regular, and we'll come to that in a second. But stop is a base form or simple present form of that verb, stop. And it normally means that something's being done habitually or repetitively. Okay. Continuous progressive form, well, you just add ing. It means that something's happening right at this moment, right now, or is happening at some specific moment. Then you've got the final form, which is simple past of stop. And that's stopped. We've just basically put an ed on the end. Now, this is really important when you're talking about the past with regular verbs. Regular verbs are ones that when you talk about the past, you just add ed onto the end of them. Now, there are some spelling rules there for adding ed, but we're not going to talk about those today. So stop is actually a regular verb because you can just put ed on the end to say that something happened in the past and has finished before now. So stop, stopping, stopped. Awesome. Now here's another example of a regular verb, which means that we can just put ed on the end of it to talk about something that's finished before now or before a certain time. So its base form is kick. Its progressive or continuous form is kicking. Okay. But its past form, because it is a regular verb, we can just add ed on the end. So it becomes kicked. You put ed on the end. Now that brings us to the next verb down on our table, and that's eat. Now, eat is irregular, which means that it's not normal. Regular means normal. Irregular means not normal. So eat is an irregular verb. And can you guess why? Well, you're right. If you said that it's because you don't add ed to talk about this action having been finished in the past. Okay, so its base form is eat, its progressive form is eating, and its past form, talking about something that's finished before now, you don't add ed. It becomes a totally new word, which is irregular, not normal, and it becomes ate. Ooh. So there's irregular and regular. Let's go on. Let's talk a little bit more. So those were the verb tense forms. Now, have a look at this. We're going to go through an example. Now, I've got my table down beside me still, just to remind you about these verbs and what we've talked about, all their different tense forms and also regular and irregular. So we're going to, first of all, get out this here. This says ate. Now, we know that this is the irregular past, simple past verb of eat. Okay, so ate by itself, does it make sense? No, it doesn't. So we need to add something else to make sure it makes sense. And that thing is, what do we need to add to it to make sure that it makes sense? If you said noun, you're correct. We need to put a noun with this. So let's do that now. And I've grabbed Urkel again, my old buddy. Yep, I know you're popular today, Urkel. How do you feel?
Good, Mr. K, really good.
Okay, so Urkel ate. Now that basically means that Urkel finished eating before noun. But it's a little bit boring, so let's see what else we can add to it to make it more interesting. Urkel ate Mr. K. Once again, Urkel's been to my video material and changed it. I can't... Oh... Anyway. So there you have it. That is a sentence that makes sense, and it's about something that happened or finished before now. Okay, so Urkel ate Mr. K. That means he finished eating Mr. K before now. But wait on, let's just put some marks on here to show that I know what are the parts of this sentence that I've made. Well, first of all, I'm going to put a big red V for verb. Which word is that? Do you know? If you said ate, you were correct. So we'll put a big red V above that. Then, apart from that, we've got nouns, and they're actually proper nouns because they're names of things. So we've got those, and I'll put PN, green PN above them, and that's Urkel and Mr. K, as you can see here. Now, last thing I want you to remember, the most used form of a verb, or the most used tense form of a verb used in a story, is normally the past verb form. So the reason is because normally stories are about things that have finished in the past. They're about things that have already happened. So most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, the most used verb in a story is the past tense form. Excellent. Thanks for watching. See you next time and take care. Bye. Thanks for watching one of my videos. If you've enjoyed the content or you just want to show your support, please just click the subscribe button down below. You hitting the subscribe button lets me know that you'd like to see more content from me. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Subscribe.